Roosters defeat Manly 40-16. We'll get Roo to start this now. Roosters defeat Manly 40-16, and I tell you what, this is the Roosters I wanted to see last week. Matter of fact, like, I know this didn't happen, but the difference between last week and this week, it feels like last week they were playing possum. That's how different. Like, it felt like they were going into that game going, you know what? Like, it's a tough game. Let's just focus on the week after where there's a game that's much more manageable. I know that didn't happen, but that's how substantial the difference was. Now, I think everyone lifted their game. All the forwards across the board, if they were 6 out of 10 last week, they went to 7 or 8 out of 10. And I know this is a very specific thing, but I reckon that the key difference for me, it was Joey Manu, in my opinion. Now, he wasn't man of the match, but just the fact that we saw Joey Manu multiple times on the other side of the field, looking for the ball, taking hit-ups through the middle, offloading. And like, when Joey Manu is roaming and having heaps of runs like that from centre, that's when the Roosters are on. And so that's when I see that, it suggests to me that the directive from Robbo was, boys, we just need to be super fast and aggressive through the middle. Because at the start of the game, there was a bit of an arm wrestle going on, and then Connor Watson decided, I'm up in the tempo. Then Joey Manu got in there. Then Teddy got in there. And before you know it, Manly were just on the back foot. They just could not keep up. Matter of fact, I think their first try they scored, where'd they score it? Wasn't on the edges. It was literally a short ball from Teddy to Radley, right under the sticks. What does that suggest to you? That suggests too fast, too powerful through the middle. If the Roosters can play like this next weekend, they are absolutely a chance. I thought it was an outstanding performance by the Roosters. And by God, Robbo needed a win like this. Look, his job wouldn't have been under pressure because of the injuries, but he needed a win like this. If he had gone out in straight sets, even with the injuries, I think there would have been people going, mate, you've got a better roster than that. Great performance by Robbo and great performance by the Roosters.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I've obviously been somewhat vocal about them over the last few weeks. When I got to Tuesday, Kempy, the team list came out, and just seeing Jared's name there, I just went, fuck, I feel so much less confident about this all of a sudden. And, you know, he set the tone early. You know, obviously didn't mean to, you know, to take Kohler off the field, but that's just the sort of intensity that he comes into a game like this with. And I think he had a huge impact on this side as well.
Like, there's no way they're sending out Hargreaves, like, playing poorly. Like, that could have been his last game.
Yep.
If they didn't aim up and have a dig, that could have been his last game.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and we've sort of said all year, Kempy, that the Roosters need to lean into their power game through the middle. And you sort of mentioned Joey Manu, who I agree. I actually had him in my team of the week at centre, but they did lean into it more. And I did a podcast during the week with Rando, having a look into this game, and sort of said the Roosters have been their own worst enemy at times this year. And I think I use the word complacent because I think there's so many superstars in this team that they have a tendency just to go side to side and expect one of these superstars, whether it be Suaalii or Manu or Tupu or Young or Teddy, whoever, just to pull something out. And that's fine. They scored like a record number of points for themselves this year, the Roosters. But against the gun top four sides, and in particular the Storm and the Panthers, they didn't have a good record because they just go, let's go side to side, and they just get belted. Yeah. And they didn't do that in this game. They went, no, let's be powerful through the middle. As I said, it was bringing Manu even back underneath or letting him roam. It was bringing Suaalii back underneath and then going back to that middle corridor. They got the complacency out of their game and they just blew them apart through the guts. And we know they can do that again this weekend when they face Melbourne. And without sort of getting into the preview too much, they need to do it again because they can beat any team, give or take maybe the Panthers, through the middle and be more powerful. They did it and they smashed them.
Yeah. And like, you look at the Storm, if there is one not a weakness, because like they got a bloody good forward pack that's doing a really good job. But if there is one area where funds haven't been invested in their salary cap, it's their forward pack. Like, whereas when you look at the Roosters, like a lot of their money probably is in their forward pack. And, you know, obviously it wasn't intentional, but the two times they'd obviously knocked out Jake Trbojevic and Kohler, like they were running, they're so big and so strong. They were running so hard that no matter what the defence did, they were going to lose that contact. And the Roosters are one of the very few forward packs that are so big and so strong that no matter what you do, you're probably going to lose the contact when they are running their hardest. Like, Jake Trbojevic never gets knocked out. Like, never. His tackle technique is perfect almost. First of all, though, I want to shout out Kohler. Mate, that's one of the bravest things I've ever seen in my life. That is one of the bravest things I've ever seen in my life. You got Hargreaves coming back 1,000,000 miles an hour. Cooler would be what, you reckon, 92 kilos max?
Yeah, there's not much to him. Yeah.
Not a big guy. The smart thing, and like I'll be honest, if I was a captain, and you can call me soft, you can call me a cat, like whatever, I would be telling my centres, boys, we don't need you to win the contact off the kick because you're not going to win it. And I get it. You're brave. You're tough. But I would just always. It's funny because DC almost alluded to that after the game, where he said like, we got ourselves a bit rolled up rather than, and these things can happen when you do that. And what I got from that, DC didn't say this, but what I got from that was DC almost alluding to like, we needed to be willing to lose the contact in the first 5 to 10 minutes so that those things didn't happen.
Yeah.
And so if I was a captain of a rugby league team in the NRL, if you're not a front rower and that tackle happens, you don't need to be soft and step out of the way because that is cowardice, but don't try and win the contact. Because Kohler was trying to win the contact, which is so brave, so crazy. I would be saying, boys, just fall with the tackle, let them find their front. If they get a quick play of the ball, it is what it is. Because centers going into contact like that, you're losing the battle, 8 to 9 times out of 10.
Which to me, it almost just seems obvious, but to these guys that are fucking just out and out competitors, like telling Kohler that, I imagine, would be very tough.
Yeah, it'd be very tough because he'd almost be saying, what are you saying? I'm soft, I can't handle it. It's like, no, bro, you're not. You're actually crazy. And this is what makes, rugby league players at an NRL level, most of them, 99.9% have a screw loose. To get into the NRL, even if you think that player, he's such a cat, like he doesn't run as hard as Hargreaves, I promise you, he's way tougher than pretty much anyone you know. Just to get to the NRL.
Oh mate, it's watching my brother's team in Jersey Flegg, you have to have screws loose to still be playing at 21.
It's crazy.
It's a brutal sport.
It's a brutal sport. We're just so desensitized to it. So, that opening 20, it set the tone. However, I've got to give Manly raps. I thought they hung on really, really well. As I said, the first try was just purely quick play the ball, and then around the ruck. Yes, if you're going to sit in a video session and you could go, okay, Lodge, Nathan Brown, did they turn it in? But in reality, what was Brown and Lodge supposed to do there with Radley hitting that line? Even if they make tackle, they're probably going to get carried over the line. That was purely from the 3 tackles that happened before that.
Also, the in and away through the middle of the field of Teddy at speed there off quick play of the ball, it was so elite. Because I did the same. Every time there's a try, all right, who's at fault? Who do we need to hammer here? And it was watching that, I was like, that was so
what
good
are you
from
supposed
Teddy.
to do?
Yeah.
Because the only way Brown makes that tackle is if he's too tight to Lodge. And then obviously then outside him is too tight to him. The only way he's in the right position to make that tackle is because he is doing the wrong thing. Because put it this way, imagine a scenario where he is in front of Radley and Teddy hits out the back. All of a sudden there is literally half a field because it would have gone him, edge back row, I'd say. 4, 3 defender, which is a half, centre, winger. So if Brown is under the post, that's half a field with 4 people defending it. That's crazy spacing. I thought Teddy, we spoke about him earlier, but to count him out, the champion that he is, what I always find strange about Teddy, I feel like he's never, although people really appreciate him for how good he is, and I think most people will agree he's one of the greatest fullbacks of all time, but I don't really feel like he's got the fair rub of greatness that, say, a Billy Slater and that has gotten. I'm not suggesting he's on Slater's level, but what I'm saying is that we would never count out a guy like Billy Slater. We would never count out a guy like Minicello. Again, you guys could probably have a better name, a better memory of that when Minicello was one of the best fullbacks of all time. And yet I feel like Teddy just got counted out for some reason. I never understood it when he's one of the greatest fullbacks of all time, period.
Yeah, I agree. And it's, a year ago we were sitting here going, fuck, I just want to see that ball. He doesn't have to invent ball playing. He's got it. We just need to see it again. And for me, as you said, that ball that he threw to Radley, the ball playing, he ended up scoring the try, but the one to Daniel Tupou, that was a cracker as well.
I'll tell you a stat. So someone messaged me trying to be a smart ass going, for all the people bagging Tedesco about his ball playing, he's had 22 try assists this year. And I was like, hey, yeah, bruh, check his try assist from the year before and the year before that. And it was like 6 and 9 or something like that. And while you boys are talking, I'll get it up so I can get the accurate number, which is, it proves our point, what we were saying last year, is that we know he has ball playing. Let's see it. Comes into this year, he gets his ball playing right. Look how good he's been.
We nailed Tedesco.
Like, yeah, it's like when he sent me that message, I was like, bro, you're literally proving our point. Like, no one to this year is saying Tedesco ball playing has been poor. We've been saying it's improved.
Yeah, I used the word before, Kempy, but it was just desensitised. People are desensitised to the brilliance of James Tedesco because he manages to maintain that top level year after year after year. You're just used to it. And then last year, he has a rare down year in a NRL career spanning, 12, 13 years, whatever it might be. And then, the knives come out, the pitchforks come out. But it was even last year, it was a bad year by his standards. It's still a good year. But yeah, never doubt the man.
So this year, he had 17 tries. And he has, I'll get it up, sorry. Okay, so 17 tries, 24 try assists, 24 line breaks. Last year, though, he had 2 less games, so essentially a full season, though. 11 tries, 11 try assists. The year before that, 12 try assists. And he had 9 tries. So that, not 9 tries, 13 tries. I mean, so that just shows you, he did have quite a couple of years where he was a little bit quiet with the try assists. And I think that does come along with the fact that the Roosters had so many injuries that he was just doing everything. I'll just try to get his try assists up here for the years before that, actually.
He just...
Yeah, he had those 2 down years, and that's where we spoke quite a little bit about the fact that his try assists had gone down, his ball playing had gone down. And then the year before that, he had 22 try assists.
Yeah.
So, he'd proven that he can do it. And he had that, I think, with 19 games, if I'm looking at correctly. And so, I think what I love about Teddy's performance this year is just showing you that he is a GOAT fullback. He is, if you've got a top tier of top 5 fullbacks, I think he is one of them. If he was to retire today, he would be in my personal top 5 fullbacks of all time.
And if you also and obviously he's been at the Roosters, they're a successful club, et cetera, et cetera. If you go back and look at his early days at the West Tigers.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, better stats then.
Well, I was just having a look. As far as the Dally M Award goes, he was in the top 10 for the last 3 years at the West Tigers, and he was the Dally M fullback of the year in 2016. The Tigers.
Yeah. Imagine winning or being in the top 3 from the Tigers.
Wild.
Respectfully.
Well, when it's all said and done, his career's over. You're saying top 5 Kempy fullbacks, but with what he's done, I think we're talking more top 3.
Top 2 or 3?
There's an argument in top 2.
Well, him and Minnie is second. Darren Lockyer is actually my number 1, but I can understand the Billy Slater one. But I would probably go, the normal consensus, say it's Billy Slater, then I'd go Darren Lockyer, then I would go Minicello or Teddy.
I think Teddy's overtaken Minicello.
Okay.
And I think Minicello's held back because of all the injuries he had, 100%. But I mean, you can't take that away from Teddy as well. I think he is third ever for me.
Yeah, I've got Billy number 1 for sure. What year did Lockie make the switch to fullback?
2005. So he won 2
2005.
premierships at fullback, I think.
Yeah.
And then maybe 3 premierships at fullback and 1 at 5'8", I think.
Yeah,
second year.
I want to say Teddy to number 2. I was very young when Lockie did his damage at fullback. I've seen a lot of highlights and watched games back, but unless you're watching them week in, week out, with certainly a sound of mind, when he won in, when did he win those, 2000 and...
Yeah, so 1998,
2000.
Yeah, I was 4 and 6, so I'm just I hate sort of judging on when I didn't probably watch him at the time, but Teddy or Lockie number 2 and 3.
Well, I think he was pretty much the Australian fullback from a very young age.
Yes, yeah. I think when you're talking about Lockie too, you need to keep in mind, when do guys tend to play their absolute best football? 26, 27 onwards. That was literally the moment he moved out of fullback.
To 5'8".
So everything he achieved was in his years still learning the game.
Yeah. And he was one of the, not the rare, but relatively rare guys that get into the Australian side, fullback, no one takes your spot. You get into the Queensland side, no one takes your spot.
Locked.
And then obviously he moved to 6. There was a year where they sat down all those Queenslanders and said, if you don't start winning, you're gone. And obviously, but he was the captain when the dynasty start for Queensland.
And for me, though, I think that says more about Lockie that, hey, you need to perform. Okay, I'll start the greatest dynasty of all time.
And he had the play that started it with the cut. Yeah, so, but I mean, as I said, Tedesco is one of the greatest fullbacks of all time. It's that simple. In regards to other people's performances, I just want to give Victor Radley a rap because this is the kind of toughness I want to see from Victor Radley. There are many kinds of toughness, but like two of them are this. It's being a Hargreaves or a Victor Radley that are going out there like absolute maniacs, shotting blokes, just being super aggressive. And I love that. It's part of rugby league. However, the game has kind of unfortunately, it's kind of moved past that. It is so risky. You can't afford to do it. And also with all the HIAs and everything, it's a super dangerous thing to be like that now. And so what I love about this from Victor Radley, this is how you can show toughness in the modern era. It doesn't necessarily, it's not going to be on a highlight reel. You're not going to be shooting out of the line, but to go out there with a broken scapula and play in the forwards, it is not being talked about enough. And it is one of the toughest things I've personally ever seen because you've got the Cooper Cronk. I think the Cooper Cronk was a bigger break or something like that. It was a bigger or something. But you could make the argument you were out in the halves and there were ways to, get you through the game. Even though what Cooper Cronk did was historic. Going on in a forward pack like that and then scoring the first try as well, it's mind-blowing. It is mind-blowing.
And running a courageous line like that too. You're asking to be
Nathan
whacked.
Brown. You're running an unders line on Nathan Brown and you got a broken friggin'...
I thought it was really good coaching by Robbo too that you had him coming into this game. You got to remember, he hasn't played through the middle in, I'm going to say 15 odd
I'll be honest. I was speaking to Matty Johns and I said this is a mistake by picking Radley because he was injured and you're going to be most likely playing him through the middle. And I'll put my hand up. I was wrong.
And I think, it's a little bit, depending on how you want to look at it, but I looked at it and went, fuck, okay, if I'm picking Radley coming off an injury, I think I'd rather start him. I hate when you see guys coming from injury, they pick him on a bench, they put him on, then you have that risk of you've wasted 2 interchanges. Yeah. I like that they just let Radley go out, do his thing. They played him back through the middle. They simplified his game. I thought he did incredibly well.
Yeah, so brave.
And if it does go to shit and you have to sub him, you only lose 1 interchange there. Yep. Makes a big difference.
Absolutely. So I think he deserves a massive rap for what he did. I thought Terrell May, I thought he was watching him as a Manly fan, I'd be pulling my hair out going, just get him to the ground, please. Please just get this friggin' bloke to the ground. Every run, it was like a hand was hanging out. I think he ended up with 4 offloads. What was your thoughts on Terrell May?
Honestly, I was just looking then, he made 141 metres. Not a single one of our forwards made over 100 metres, which was insane. But yeah, the Roosters offloads just absolutely killed us every time. I'm tackle around the ball. It was very, very painful to watch, that's for sure.
And when I look at Terrell May over the weekend, the big thing for me was he only had to make 17 tackles.
Yeah.
When you only have to make 17 tackles, he's ready to go and attack.
I know this is in a perfect world and easier said than done, but you're what do the Cowboys need off the bench? Imagine if the Cowboys had a Terrell May off the bench.
Yeah, okay. Well, we're talking that, then absolutely they could use a guy like Terrell May off the bench.
Yeah. He's unbelievable, isn't it? The intensity that JWH and Collins start with, and then you go, we're about to get another level of that off the bench in Terrell May. He's not even our biggest X factor off the bench. They've got Spencer Lenny there as well. God, it's a powerful middle.
Yeah.
Is it I know this will be hyperbolic or whatever, but just on paper, is it the best front row rotation we've seen in clubland?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is you can never look past the big dogs, but the rotation off the bench.
Yeah. Like a team of 4. We with the Penrith Panthers, we literally read the numbers out last week. When those 2 aren't on the field, there is a big drop off. Yeah. It almost gets scarier when these guys come on.
It's crazy. It's genuinely crazy. And what I like about it is when Terrell May comes on, he brings he's not super fast or anything like that, and he's not super aggressive, but just bends the line every time he runs the ball. I don't know whether he's got a really special ability of turning his body the right way to win the contact, but because obviously we had him on the podcast, he's big, but he's not giant. But just athletically, he just must be very strong for his size. So, yeah, in regards to power, you got a Collins, Hargreaves, Spencer Leniu, Terrell May. I mean, you're looking at essentially all four of them in their peak could be in Origin. So you're looking at a 4 Origin rotation.
Just on him, May, when I was in Vegas, I was at their captain's run, and the boys were having a laugh after, like, throwing gridiron passes. And, like, he threw the best one out of all of them.
Yeah.
Just a naturally
gifted
freak. And
guy.
the ball was just going further and it was cleaner. And I just sat there going, he's just a freak.
Yeah, I mean, that's been his biggest downfall. You know, coming through the grades is like almost being complacent with that talent and then quitting the game, coming back, quitting the game because, sometimes when it comes too easy to you, you get lazy. And obviously when he decided to turn his life around and fully focus in, like, this is what we're getting.
Yeah.
Also, just quietly, you'll be buying whispers here and whispers of a rap album from the Roosters boys coming out. You'll be getting that one, won't you, Roo?
Yeah, interesting, isn't it?
I heard Guru
Not really
featured
my
on it.
wheelhouse.
I heard Guru featured on it.
I want a feature. Reach out, boys. I want a feature. I can rap.
They seem to love that sort of stuff, though.
And I'm down. I'm down with the boys.
I'm not. I'm not cool enough.
I might look like a Magoo, but I'm fucking cool. I'm cool as shit.
I look like a Magoo and Emma Magoo. So.
No, I'm cool, bro.
Yeah.
I'm cool. Timmy, are you cool?
Well, I didn't think so,
Is
but
Rap Hit Kuma yet?
no, not yet. It's coming. There's this new big guy, Tupac, I think they call him, who's just been released to the local. But I'm not cool, no. But I did have a compliment pre-show from the boys saying that in this hat I look like a surfer. So maybe the tides are turning.
You know what? I'm sure we're going to find at least a surfer or a skater that looks like Timmy that we can, because
No
you
doubt.
literally look like everyone.
John Citizen over there.
I tell you what, Connor Watson, what a knock. I remember like him when he came to the Roosters. Remember how it was kind of like, what will he play? Like, if I recall correctly, I think they already kind of had 14 sorted, or to a degree. And when I spoke to Connor, he actually spoke quite a bit about playing hooker. And in my head, I was like, oh, that's interesting. It almost feels a little bit late in his career to go, I want to be a good hooker. I want to be a good dummy half. And so, although I believe that he could do it, I kind of was like, a bit strange that all of a sudden you would be looking to become an out-and-out 9 rather than being that utility player. Fucking hell. A bit strange. It's one of the best decisions he's ever made.
Yeah, I had the same concerns. I thought for the Roosters, this is great. For Connor, I don't know.
Yeah, like you'll probably, if you are going to be a dummy half, you might play 20 minutes a game. Like, and how are you going to get those minutes? Whereas as a utility, you're probably going to get more minutes. But it's been the best decision ever made. Like, so much so that, like, in the next game, let's say Brandon Smith was to come back, you'd probably start Connor.
I would.
And you'd have Brendan off the bench. And we're talking about Brendan Smith, a Dally M hooker.
And, like, can you imagine, like to think that Connor Watson's arrived at the Roosters, and I've personally always thought Connor's best position is lock, but Radley was there at that point. To think that Radley isn't even playing 13 anymore and Connor Watson's the 9 and killing it there.
Yeah.
It's crazy how it's all played
80
out.
minutes too.
Doesn't he have a very unique skill set, Connor Watson? Like, he started games for the Knights at fullback. And he's now, like, there's a few out there who can obviously do that, or plenty, I should say, that can do, like, the lock hooker combination and swap between those two. But then his ability to slot in at 5'8" easily as well, and doing all these at such a high notch, very unique.
Well, this is how unique he is. Literally hadn't played Origin, and everyone game 2 was like, oh, thank God we got Connor Watson on the bench.
Yeah.
Like, everyone was like, man, this changes everything. Like, genuinely, it changes our rotation. It changes, like, we've got every position covered. Like, that's how unique of a player he is, that, like, he hadn't played Origin, and he'd only had, like, he'd always had good years before, but not Origin level. He had 1 year where he's playing good enough to be selected, and all of New South Wales were like, yes, thank God.
It's also coming off a season that he didn't play at all.
It's just because
He
you're
started
like,
in reserve grade too.
with Watson, let's say he's off your bench, you just can breathe easy on, all right, if there's an injury anywhere in this team, Connor can fix it. And I don't mean Connor's going to slot in on the wing or centre or fullback, but, a centre can go to fullback or whatever.
Yeah.
Connor can slot in at centre. A back row can go to centre. Like, he can do... Having him there just allows a coach so much freedom.
And he's also... He's not just going to come on and be okay. He's actually going to come on and play pretty well.
And, like, you think back, like, it feels like an age ago, but remember when he got like a player of whatever of the Nines tournament for the Roosters a couple of years ago?
Oh, that feels like forever
Feels
ago.
like forever to go,
Yeah, wow. But yeah, he was phenomenal. And what I love about having him at 9 is that, like, it almost forces them to play up tempo.
Yeah.
Because once he gets out, Robbo's sitting in the coach's box going, you better, like, once he gets out, you better support him, because then obviously you're getting pizzled in the video sesh.
I think it was the second try that Teddy scored where he got it back inside off Connor, and you just saw the offload came from Manu and they got it to Connor. And you just saw the Manly, like when Manly off two offloads and Connor had the ball with a little bit of just went off. Fuck, what are we going to do here?